Okay, so this is going to be my take on chili cheese, the traditional dish of Bhutan. I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible. So here are the utensils you need: chopping board, knife, 2 bowls, and a fairly deep frying pan or wok. The first step is going to need a set of peppers, about 3, a pack of chilies, 50 grams, 4 or so of these bird's eye chilies, 5 spring onions. You're going to need a cup of water and some oil just for the frying. The next bit is going to need a tin of tomatoes. You're going to chop these up, so if you've got chopped ones, that's cool. Tin of obviously, 3 cloves of garlic, a pack of mushrooms, that's about half a pound or 400 grams. And the last bit is you're just going to need some kind of feta style cheese. Okay, so this is going to make enough to serve between kind of 6 and 8 people. You can do it with rice, or you can have it by itself. First thing you want to do is just take, after washing the spring onions, take the heads off, put them to one side, turn around, and then pretty much take off some of the end that you don't want, where it kind of goes a bit weird and nasty. And then we're just going to chop all these in kind of thin little rings, kind of, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of a centimetre or something, or 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, just like this. And then we're just going to basically put everything for the first step, so that's our peppers, onions, 2 varieties of chili, just in one bowl, and pretty much what we're going to do is put 2 tablespoons of oil in the frying pan / wok, whatever you've got, and then add pretty much some water, and we're going to bring it to the boil and let it simmer for 10 minutes before anything in the second step happens. So that's kind of the first thing. Core out your peppers, just get all the seeds out of them. And the way we're going to be slicing these is kind of do them in thin strips as you would a salad, and then we're just going to half them. So again, kind of the same width as the onions that you've done. You can use kind of red onions or yellow onions, or kind of any variety of onions that you want, or I'd recommend kind of just not the bog standard onion. So yeah, we're kind of looking for this sort of shape, and so basically do that with all 3 of your peppers. While this is happening, you can boil about a pint of water, or half a litre or so of water, because that's going to need to go into our pan, and basically be boiling and simmering once everything goes in. So yeah, as I said, this can kind of be done with kind of as an accompaniment to rice, like a curry or something, or you can have it by itself as kind of a rich soup or broth sort of thing. Yeah, with the onions, peppers and chilies, just keep them refrigerated before you use them, and just wash them. We'll give them a rinse before you cook them or chop them. Right, so just kind of pat these dry with some kitchen foil, or sieve them, whatever, let them drain, basically get the water off them. Before you just start chopping them. And yeah, now basically, yeah, we got 2 types of chili. We got your kind of weird bird's eye ones, so these are kind of the hot stuff, and then kind of these, I don't know, Centuries Basics chilies, or wherever I got them from. When you're chopping these, take the heads and tails off, put them just off the edge, and slice them down the centre, and then kind of, depending on how hot you want to be, or kind of whether or not you want the seeds, just take those out and scoop them off to one side, or whatever. You can kind of leave them in, and it'll make it a bit hotter, but then personally I get a bit frustrated when they're kind of all in my teeth. So yeah, and then just kind of, you basically want to be slicing these kind of really finely, and yeah, you're just going to do this with all the chilies, and then stick them in kind of your first bowl, with the peppers and onion that we've already got. When you're doing this, make sure you don't touch your eyes or your mouth or anything, and if you are going to do that, make sure you wash your hands thoroughly beforehand, because it stings pretty bad. This, and then with each one down the middle again. You don't have to be too fussy about all the seeds, because if you get in, it's not going to be the end of the world. I mean, it's meant to be quite a hot dish, and really, when I had it out there, it was just literally just all chili, and it was hot as hell, if you don't mind me saying. It doesn't matter if some of the pieces are a bit bigger, because kind of with the general warmth of the dish, having a chili or so isn't that bad. And now I move on to the bird's eye ones. The seeds in this are like noticeably hotter than the other ones, so if you really want to keep the heat down, or if you're really not fond of spice, then make sure you get all the seeds out. With these ones, I'm not bothering to split them down the middle, you just get nice little cylinders. Try and keep these small, because you do notice with these ones, when you get like a big lump, it's pretty hot. Right, so in here we've got chilies, peppers, onions, and pretty much we're going to throw them into our wok after we put some oil in. Just put about 2 tablespoons in. Enough to just cover the base of your pan. Throw these all straight in. Ooh, there we go. And now you're going to try and fill approximately about a pint, 600 ml of water. So now what we'll have will look like this. You can put more or less water in depending on how thick you want the sauce to be. You can always thin the sauce out by burning a bit more of it off. So we're just going to bring this to the boil now, and so we've got the heat on full, and then we're going to kind of just let it sit boiling or simmering for about 10 minutes. Right, so our next part is going to have a tin of tomatoes, 3 cloves of garlic, and a pack of mushrooms. So I'm just going to go ahead and wash these. And I've taken the stalks off all our mushrooms. You can kind of use pretty much whatever your favourite type of mushroom is, and just giving them a wash. And you can kind of either slice them into thin strips like this, that's pretty good, or you can leave them kind of in quarters, or whatever. There are loads. I've got loads in shapes and sizes in here, so I think the small ones I'll probably do into quarters just for some variety. This is kind of, I suppose, a substitute for the meat. So if you want to try it with meat or something, and you do, go ahead, experiment, have some fun with it. Or you can post a comment or send me a message or write a video response on my wall or something. That'll be cool to check out. So yeah, but I wouldn't recommend dicing these, just so that you kind of have, in amongst the sauce, you get some chunky bits. That's why we've left the peppers quite big, and yeah, we'll want to leave the mushrooms identifiable, I suppose. Just remember that this is going on for 10 minutes, and kind of, don't test this now, just have a bit of faith. Yeah, just trust that it'll be okay, because I imagine that'll probably blow your head off if you did try it. I've never tried it like that. And when that comes around, we're going to shove all our mushrooms in, along with 3 cloves of garlic, which we're just going to slice. If you've got a garlic crusher, then you can go for that as well. Please be careful with the knives. If you need supervision, then please go find it, because I don't want people chopping their fingers off as a result of these videos. Yeah. Just keep moving this around occasionally, and yeah, keep an eye on the time, so you know when your other stuff needs to go in. The timings don't really need to be exact, but they're kind of just the general. Yeah, the general time when things should be going in. Yeah, you can chop the mushrooms, however, so whatever your favourite shape of mushroom is or variety. Okay, that's all these done. I'm just going to push this off to the side. Right, your garlic. Chop off this bit at the end and then the top, and peel off the outer layer of skinny stuff. Just slice up the onion, garlic, up fairly finely, or crush it, or dice it, or... Right, the next step is open up your tin of tomatoes. These are peeled tomatoes, so what I'm going to do is just pop the lid up like this, and then pretty much stick the knife in and chop them up while they're still in the tin, because ideally you do want chopped tomatoes, but these are a lot cheaper. Do you want to try the chili broth? Do you want to try the chili broth?
Yeah, we'll give it a go. Do you have a spoon over there?
No, I don't. I'm just going to warn you, I've never tried this at this stage. Is it
wow,
okay?
that's spicy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That took me by surprise. I was like, this is quite mild.
Okay, so I chopped up the onions in the tin, and it's been about 10 minutes, so I'm just going to throw the mushrooms, garlic, and tomatoes in. Garlic. And finally, the mushrooms, make sure they're not really sticking together. Okay, and just mix it all up. And this is going to be 3 minutes like this, simmering, until final cheese is going to go in. Okay, the next step, or third step, once the mushrooms, tomato and garlic are in, is to cut up our cheese in preparation for putting that in once our 3 minutes is up. And the cheese I'm using is just Sainsbury's Basics Greek salad style cheese, but it's pretty much a feta-ish cheese. I think the real deal is meant to be yak's milk or yak's cheese or something, but that's a bit hard to get, so any feta will do it, I'm sure. I've got about 400 grams, and pretty much we're just going to be slicing it up just so it makes it easier to melt, because once the 3 minutes of mushrooms and tomatoes and garlic is up, this is going to go in for 3 minutes, and then, or pretty much until it melts, and then we'll be done. Okay, that's all the cheese chopped up, and we're just going to wait for that to reach 3 minutes, and then we're just going to chuck it in. Keep it stirring, keep it simmering. At the moment this is looking a bit liquidy, so I might leave it on for a bit longer to burn some of the water off, or boil some of the water off. Okay, it's been 3 minutes-ish since this has been in and boiling, so I'm just going to chuck the cheese in. And now just keep the heat on, keep it boiling, and just give it a stir around until the cheese starts to melt and the sauce thickens. You'll probably notice I haven't put any salt or pepper or seasoning in, just because I don't really think it's needed. If you want, the cheese is quite salty in itself, and the chilies and peppers give it, I don't know, enough of a flavour, I reckon, but if you want, go for it. Okay, so this is what we're looking like at the moment. The cheese is yet to melt, we're about 1.5 minutes in, but the sauce has gone kind of really orange.